Hello and welcome everybody to our first ever live stream. We will have a mix of guys coming in from both YouTube and Substack. Let me just see if I can just turn that volume down a little bit on there. Great stuff. So yes, Caleb, what were you saying? You were filling in the time there about the channels and about the people that will be following us right
Yeah,
now.
just welcome everybody. I know that we're switching things up now, and we'll have people who've been checking our stuff out on the Novocastrian channel on YouTube. But then there will be new people checking this out who haven't seen any of that. So I just was going to say, welcome everybody, and we can maybe show just sort of a summary of what we've done so far and talk about where we're going from here.
Great stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we've talked, right?
Yeah.
Um, that that last podcast was really special. Actually, um, since then, I mean, Sean Hross has brought. Oh, of course, there would something have to be somebody at the door. I know. I can't. I'm not going to answer it though. I'm not expecting anybody. Um, but yeah. Anyway, the things that happen, hardly ever get anyone knocking on my door, but by now, yeah. So as I was saying, the work that Sean Ross had brought out shortly after we did that podcast, it's just blew my mind. And I know you've been releasing some stuff lately on it. You've been talking about it in your Telegram forum, and but yeah, the stuff that he's been doing on Keir Starmer really blew my mind. ma- Made me knuckle down for the past like 5 months, and I've transcribed the work that he did. I, I'm actually putting the finishing touches on an essay um, to make it put it into text so that so people can share it easily and sort of get into his work a little bit more without without this sort of colloquialisms that people aren't used to yet. Um, but other than that, yeah, where do you think we should go from here? Because we didn't really plan this. And
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't know when you wanted to do a summary of our past work either. So yeah, go ahead, man.
yeah. Well, why don't you just sort of introduce yourself to everybody? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people already know, but I remember. Well, I'll introduce you. So,
Yeah.
um, I remember it was like around the time when I had just published a article on Commons Beaumont and did an interview about that. And uh, I think you reached out to me, and you had videos about Commons Beaumont as well. And then we just started collaborating from there. And I checked out your early videos you had on your channel, which were some really well done videos. St. George, Shadow of Catastrophe video series. They were really good.
Yeah. I mean, those videos going way back. I still look at them like they're kind of like my greatest work in a way. Um, and I've been wanting to get back to them, but it just hasn't felt. I don't know. Like I feel like I still need to do a little bit more research um to get back on that. Feel like I'm at that point where I could pull something off if I dig into my old research notes and see if I can pull together a script. But yes, the Saint George was almost like at the time I was very patriotic and almost nationalistic. Um, I feel like my feelings toward that side of it, the political side of it, have changed a lot. But I still, when I was watching, I've watched those recently, and looking back, it still had a quite an emotional effect on me. And that's what really got me going. When I created those videos, I didn't realize I discovered a hidden talent that I wanted to cultivate, and the emotion that you get from creating those kinds of things, where you're really doing something almost holy. You're going into you're bypassing everything that you've been taught about the saints, about normal science, about symbolism, about the symbols that we know about St. George and where they come from. And even though I've watched a ton of things, especially if we're talking about Michael Tsarian, who would look at the symbol of St. George in a completely different way, and yet he'd probably still accept my take on it as well. But he would go one way with it, and I went the Commons Beaumont route, and since then, with Fall of Loki, that was kind of the same way because I've noticed that these symbols they become cliche. These icons like Loki in the Marvel series, they become very cliche very quickly, very kitsch, um, and people really don't really think about the significance of them to do with the natural world, to do with our world. Um, but yeah, so those were some incredible experiences making those videos. Um, I got so emotional they would bring tears to my eyes for quite some time, even returning back to them. But then we started talking, and we started doing podcasts together. And because of the guy you were able to bring in so many, bring in people like Ralph Ellis and Matt Presti, Sean Hross, and that just opened everything up for me. Um, and made my channel so much more exciting as well, and brought in a lot more subscribers. But I've noticed I've went on a little bit, and I haven't even introduced you. You're a survivalist enthusiast. You are a writer and an archivist, researcher in your own right. Um, and not only that, you've done some of the best podcasts with Michael Tsarian and David Whitehead that's on the channel. Uh, it personally, I want some of your podcasts on there just blew my mind. Sometimes where I'm you make people wait. You keep people hanging on, and then you throw things out there people don't expect, and it's always an enriching experience watching those. So yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, no problem. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I was kind of just consumer of all of the research and everything for a long time. Um, but at a certain point, um, something happened that made me feel the need to sort of jump into the ring, so to speak. Basically, what happened was I I I I was collecting books, right? And those books ended up I had to leave them with a friend. And then me and that
mm,
friend kind of split ways, and I didn't know if I was ever going to get those books back again. So, one of the books was a self-published book by a guy in Ireland telling his story, of basically facing evil face to face and his struggle there, with really evil people. And uh is a very good book, and it's a very important book as far as I'm concerned.
Are we
And
leaving the author's name out of this?
say what now?
Are we are
No, I
we
can. I can.
not talking about
No,
the
all
author's
right.
name?
So yeah, it's Jim
Yeah.
Cairns.
Wow.
This is the book. This is the original book. Oh, okay. Disappeared off the face of
Wow.
the earth by
Okay.
Jim Cairns. Yeah. So I originally had a copy, but like I said, my entire book collection went into storage.
Hmm. Hmm.
And uh, I was not sure that I was ever going to see any of those books again. I actually did get them back years later, but in the meantime, um, I'm like, I just, kind of realized like, shit, that book might be lost now, so I need to get another one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, you couldn't find another one, and Jim's old website was gone. So he looked everywhere around the internet for another copy of the book. Couldn't find one.
Right.
I found one on the German Amazon site, but I couldn't order it from here. It wouldn't let you.
Oh,
So I
okay.
tried to. So I contacted the seller through the messaging on Amazon. I'm probably going into so much unnecessary detail here, but
No,
um,
I'm liking it. Go on.
yeah. So uh, I contacted the seller and said, it's not letting me order the book, so can we work something out? And he's like, yeah, sure. But then the messaging wouldn't let me send him my email. It would like send him my message because it detects when you're trying to send a email address to somebody through their messaging.
Yeah.
Uh, so I had to encode this message into a larger message so he could like see my email. But it was like a paragraph with like the parts of my email address like scattered throughout the paragraph, right? And then I got an email from him and he's like, "We broke out of the matrix, bro. It took me a minute, but I figured out what your
Yeah.
message said." And I'm like, "Sweet." So ended up getting the last copy of the book that was available. Okay. So
Yeah.
these are the two original copies I have. All right.
All right.
Well, and since that day, I have not seen another copy available anywhere on the internet. And everybody is like, you know, um, no one knows how to get another copy.
Yeah.
That was like, that was 2019. So when I got that copy mailed to me, I decided, and also I assumed that Jim Cairns was probably dead as well.
Right.
Because no one had heard from him. People who had been in touch with him couldn't get in touch with him again anymore. They were receiving no reply via email. Um, Website was gone. So the assumption was he was dead.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and I started. I'm like, I'm not gonna let this happen. So I redid the book. I
Right.
typed it letter for letter. Okay, typed it out. Um, uh, got it into a good format, and I published it on Amazon. And then I did a few interviews on a few different podcasts about it, and turned out Jim Cairns wasn't dead, and he was pissed off that there was somebody out here selling his book, right? Um, so we emailed back and forth a few times, and I'm like, my apologies. I was just trying to help, um, and I'm gonna take the book down. I'm not gonna be, uh, doing this. So don't worry about it. It's like all right, your wishes are going to be respected.
Yeah,
So, from there, shortly after that, it was kind of too late to turn around as far as like me being out in the open. So shortly after that is when I did the Van Helsing Library, and that's my main thing right now.
yeah.
Um, you know, you can tell people about that. I'll pass the floor to
Oh,
you.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, well, Caleb has a way of honoring his heroes, and the way he honors his heroes is he makes almost little biographies of their work, takes excerpts of their work, puts them up on his website. His most recent post is Bill McConnell, right? One from Bill McConnell, or was that
Tony Brown Jr.
oh Tom Brown Jr. That's right, that's right. No, we were going to interview him, weren't we? Bill McConnell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tom, that story I highly recommend people going to. So it's a fine example of, of of the way. I mean, you. How did you do that? Did you take one of his stories and just um put it together properly, like you were telling a short story?
A little bit. It's pretty true to form, though. It's a chapter from his book, The Search. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a open chapter. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a few other. I mean, in some of his other books, he has well only one other dealing with Satanists, as far as I'm aware, which would be the last chapter from Way of the Scout.
Mm.
Basically, the story is there's a neighborhood with a cul-de-sac at the end, and at the cul-de-sac there's a trail that goes back into the woods a little bit to a shed, and like the shed is uh got like Satanists in it, and they're they're bullying all the kids in the neighborhood, and they're doing some sick shit, and pushing drugs and everything. And since Tom Brown Jr. is like the defender of his woods, and when he became aware of that, it was an insult to him, because when there's people out there poisoning the experience of the woods for people who just want to, have the right to experience nature, that's an insult to him personally, and he steps into his role as defender of his woods. And
I,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt you. I remember reading it, and it's like a month afterward. I had this, I was like, how would I have dealt with that situation? Because I mean, obviously, maybe if he could have got away with it, he would have just slaughtered as many as he can or disabled them physically, just physically disarming them. But he like almost he didn't want to kill anybody there, right? He just wanted to make his escape, and I found that fascinating because it just didn't seem like the guy who wants to kill. He doesn't want that on his psyche, you know. But uh, the things that these people get up to, I got this feeling, it's like, how if I had that skill, wouldn't I have like just go full on hunter mode, and did what I had to do to get out of there and took some of them out with me. Um,
well,
I don't know
um,
how he was it was that passage. I was gripped when you reading it. I was like, oh my god, how is he going to get out of this? He's going to have to pick one of them out, you know. But
well, he does say that he delivered a blow to the temple
yeah,
on
yeah,
the guy. We don't know
yeah.
that he survived.
Oh right, okay,
Also,
yeah.
I believe that every story and every book that he has are true stories, but I think they're modified to a greater or lesser extent.
Okay.
When I would when I went to his school back in 2014, um, he stood on the stage and told the story that one of the stories that came out of one of his books, and every detail of the story was changed, but it was the same story.
Okay. Yeah.
Nobody else in the audience noticed it, so that told me that nobody else in the audience had bothered reading the book before coming to the class, but I noticed it, and I was kind of shocked that he was telling the exact same story from his book, but all of the details and particulars were different. But he kind of has a habit of that, is that the stories are true, and he lives the stories while he's telling them, but he can change things, you know.
Hmm.
Uh,
If you want
so
to, yeah.
so it adds a bit of mystery to it, I think, as well. So we don't know that all of those people survived, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, also he does have a very martial arts philosophy of
Hmm.
peace as opposed to violence. He's very MacGyver like. He doesn't like to carry firearms while he's tracking, and he's been
Okay.
shot. Yeah, he's been shot multiple times while he was tracking bad guys through the woods, um, because he refused to carry his own gun, and he got shot. He's taken bullets. So, but his philosophy kind of dictates the way he does things.
Yeah. Yeah. We get a bit gung ho, don't we? Sometimes with our tastes, John Carpenter and things like that. Uh, was it the Boondock Saints and things? But yeah, it's one thing to get into the spirit of that kind of thing, but then to just go off gallivanting, acting like you are actually a vampire hunter. It's a different thing entirely. Um, but
Yeah,
damn, the desire to do that sometimes is so strong. Um, but yeah, getting back to it, the way you honor your heroes, Caleb, I think is at least that everybody should take out of your book, because we are in a sea of information, drowning practically. What better way to organize that and also to get the word out there? Sort that out and organize it. Realize what's most important to you, your heroes, and honor them. Honor them in the way that you do, taking their excerpt, making little bios, linking their work, starting up fundraisers for the ones that need help, you've done for Sean Ross. He still needs help. I mean, talking. I would be amiss if I didn't say that your work didn't influence me in trying to honor Sean by taking it. So it was almost synchronicity. I mean, I'm not saying he did it for me, but going from all this other work, from Europe to the Templar monuments to gallivanting and hitchhiking and camping and getting attacked by sledgehammers and getting chased out of these places. But then he goes after Keir Starmer, and I'm like, is he doing? Why? Why is he going after him? It's just like, if I felt like this is something I can really get my teeth into, you know. And some of the things that he talked about with Keir Starmer, no one else has said, no one else has postulated. He breaks his name down etymologically and brings up some very interesting facts, things that are very hard to prove and at the same time hard to disprove. But
yeah, and
I feel like I was influenced to do something about that, which I'll be releasing soon on my Substack to honor that, specifically to do with his work on Keir Starmer. Go on, sorry.
I was just gonna say that it's becoming a lost art. What he's doing as well, you know. As far as I was aware, the only people who could really crack the symbolism like that was Michael Desarian and Jordan Maxwell, you know, and on that level. But then we found Sean Hross, and he's doing it on the same level, practically as what Jordan Maxwell used to do and Michael Desarian. You know, there's a lot of people out there doing symbolism and things, but I don't feel like it's on that high of a level, you know. Um, so uh, it's kind of becoming a lost art, I think.
Well, yeah, sure, absolutely. Um, I mean, Sean Ross is in dire need as well. He's in dire need of support. So he's and he isn't getting it. Um, I I can't support him in the way I want to, and it's so frustrating. So we have to find ways that if you can't support him financially, you have to get the word out there. I feel like I have to get the word out there that he's
Well,
in we, you
Sean
know.
has never asked for money. Um, we have sent him some funds, but not because he asked for it, you know. Um, but we do have a way to send funds to him. But the things that he has asked for that I'm aware of is one, download his videos and archive them. That's what's important to Sean. Also, um, he needs people who actually are over there in Europe who are willing to let him stay and make videos, uh, and you know, a house or something, you know, an actual shelter, so he can get out of his tent, actually do some work. And three, he's asked for people to come meet with him and actually, you know, be a warrior and actually go do work with him. He's never asked for money though. So we can send him money. We have a way to do that. But you know, those are the things that he has asked for. You know, um, I think those are like his three requests, so to speak. He wants people to archive. Uh, he needs support as far as places to make videos at, and he wants somebody to actually show up and do some work with him. So it sounded like to me that nobody had showed up to go out with him. If I had a passport and I was able to, I would fly over there and go rucking through the woods with him and go film in castles and carry his bags and sleep in the tent next to him. You know, and, I'd be out there for you know months on end. You know, roughing it out with him if I could. I just can't get there right now. But somebody in Europe should be out there with them. You know, someone brave, someone with some balls.
Yeah, you don't have a passport, huh?
I don't have a passport yet.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm working
Well,
on it.
neither do I. Why is that, Caleb? Why don't we have passport? I'm
Paperwork,
sorry.
paperwork sucks. That's
Our
why.
paperwork works us. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's even the process is even more convoluted here. To be fair, but I will be getting one at some point in the future. Um, but yes. So what? I did write some notes down, a bit off the cuff. you have something else. Sort of lost out. I know we were talking about Dawn, um, us wanting to honor him, but let's yeah, let's go back to the broader question of preserving what we can while we can, because we're just inundated with so much to choose from on a daily basis. I think that's part of the technique as well, of control, is if you confuse the information sphere so much with too much, you inundate it. It it puts people off in a lot of ways. Well, where do you start? There's too much choice. It's but when you have a site like yours, you're able to cherry pick certain ones and just take your time with it. And I think that's definitely a way to go. I'm having trouble finding these notes that I wrote the other day, because I'm terrible at writing notes down. Oh yeah, here we are. Okay, but it's been crazy over here lately. I honestly, yeah, I know we don't like to talk about current events over here, but let's just say we're going off from a direction from John Ross. Everything that John Ross has talked about with Keir Starmer, it's coming true. It's like he's predicted the path that he's chosen. Basically, he's uh, he's completely locking down the UK, trying to get people to go for digital IDs, and um, what was the other thing? Like, ah, yeah, uh, 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 with the immigration problem in this country, just it's getting crazy, and it's finally starting to get to people. People are sick and tired of the pride flags and things like that every year. And I actually got in contact with my MP. This will be the second conversation I've had with her, actually, about actually going to my local politician and having phone calls with her. She's a very nice woman, actually. On the face of it, she's a really nice woman, but she's very naive, or I don't know if that's on purpose or not. But there is such a
Common.
resistance at the minute.
It's not
Sorry, go
just on
ahead.
purpose. It's not just on purpose. It's on common purpose.
It's on common purpose, exactly. I mean, she even has friends in the Fabian Society. She told me. You know what she said about them? Just off the cuff. I mean, I brought this up at the end, didn't really go into detail. But she said they're just too nice, you know, Nathan. Really, yeah, that's their problem. They're just too nice. I mean, if this woman had read the book Vice of Kings by Jason Horsley, she wouldn't be saying that. She doesn't know the history of the group, obviously, or she does, and she's choosing to ignore it or obfuscate it. She was she portrayed a, a politician who really didn't know anything about how obsessed these people are with criminals and criminal acts, and how they like to work closely with criminals and even put it on their resumes, um, setting up gateway uh, outings, trying to get people out of prison early, um, and trying to get them to reform. But people, this very shadowy organization that created the Labour Party, it's very interesting, the things that people in the Labour Party. I don't think my MP is a Fabian Society member, but I do think that they keep if she's close to them, they don't let her in on much. and they try to, because she's such a flowery, nice person on the surface. I think they try to keep things cordial. They don't really let her into the nitty gritty of what they are really up to. But anyway, getting back to it, did you want to make a comment on that, by the way?
Well, it might just be that they've had an influence on her, and I think the influence that they have a lot of times is that they just uh and sort of transfer like a consensus version or consensus idea to them. So uh maybe this MP has gone to a few of their meetings and they really came away with the impression that this is the way things are because of all of this powerful like social engineering that they do. Her exposure to it might just change her outlook, and that's what they intend it to do, but without knowing how much uh machination actually went into it. And you won't know why. You know what I'm saying? It's really crazy shit. Um Probably most people have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the Fabian Society, it is a society that's been going for about 140 years. It created the Labour Party, otherwise your version is the Democratic Party in America. Um, they have controlled both sides of the political spectrum, but they do it through subterfuge. They have perfected a model of blackmail that many people wouldn't know about unless you actually looked at the history of the Fabian Society, how they have stayed close to criminals on purpose, that they have studied their methods to keep the mafia close. They keep they're also in cahoots with the intelligence community in Britain. They may have even created the Nazi Party. I mean, they've certainly inspired the politics and the way to go about their form of national socialism in Germany. Um, Fabians were big on eugenic, just as the Nazis were. And Norman Glaister, a prominent Fabian, had a major hand in setting up the Tavistock Institute. And if you look deeply into it, you can probably connect the dots together, although it's still very hazy. Still very hazy because we don't have a lot of information on common purpose. That's how they managed to pull common purpose out of their asses. Basically, it's through the Tavistock Institute and the things they did with the woodcraft, the order of the woodcraft, for instance, which I've posted up a few things out on my Substack. It's actually looking into how Fabians and the Tavistock Institute were using occult methods and actual taking groups out and doing witchcraft with them to but there were obviously there was they weren't calling it that. They were just calling it woodcraft and getting covens together. Basically, you see how they can manipulate groups, and I imagine that's to figure out how to manipulate inside groups. Your inner circle, and also the groups outside as well. Um, that's kind of what I've been researching at the minute. That's gonna be part of the bigger essay that I released on Substack. Um, so how I even got onto that conversation was talking to my MP about the Fabian Society at the very end. But I was talking to her about the asylum hotel in the country and I how I brought it up was at one of the more prominent judges down in Essex. He ruled that a migrant hotel could stay. Now, in a place where I am, the council are smart enough to know that people are, and there's been protests every week. But the council are smart enough to know that they need to get they need to do something about it, or at least to be seen to be doing something about these migrant hotels. But anyway, this judge, Lord Justice Bean, was the head of the Fabian Society. And I brought that up with her. I said, and he's spoken about being transparent. He talked about creating a relationship with the people that they serve. But yet, there are protests every week in Essex and other places in London and Newcastle, up in the northeast, talk, about this very subject. And he just goes completely against the public consensus and rules overall public opinion that these migrant hotels can stay. I, I brought this up with my MP, and she pushed over it. She tried to tell me that I had my wires crossed, and that there's nothing to see here really. And she would look into it for me, but she hasn't got back to me. It's funny because the last thing I brought up with her, she was more than happy to do research and get back to me on it. But this time around, no. So these players, these Fabian Society players, they're very close to the child abuse cases here in England. The most prominent one, actually, can't remember the name of the places now. But the ones with the most famous, probably best actually. I don't really name them, but the most famous child abuse cases, ones involving Parliament members. They're very close to all that. They're very, very close to the people who covered it all up and who've organised these public inquiries, which lead to nowhere. And all big show to vent all the pressure out. This flags, because people are so sick of the pride, pride flags and the whole the prideification of this country. It's just shoving it down people's throats every chance they get. The trans movement, the um the the promotion of unnatural, the promotion of the unnatural, basically going against complete natural law. They're just sick of it, and there are people, as we speak, going out and putting out uh, Union Jacks flags on every lamppost that they can find, and the council, the city councils, the town councils, depending on where you are, or in cities, they apparently they have so much money and personnel to get these flags down within the same day. They just locate them and take them straight down. There's a big pushback in this country that we haven't really seen before, and I think that's probably influenced by things that have happened with Trump. Trump getting back into power, and I think we look at America and we think we want that for ourselves, you know. Um, but yeah, it's disturbing the way some of the things that how quickly they're able to get these flags down, how quickly they're able to uh, get out headlines, which they try to co-opt it. I mean, even the Guardian and the Independent have had articles where people are from their side trying to co-opt the Union Jack, so that it associates it with leftism, just so they can try to put people off from trying to reclaim some of their identity that's been stripped away from them. Um, but yeah, um, but it's really interesting. The stuff you did on Starmer. I mean, we could be looking at some kind of nasty sleeper cell if Sean research is correct. Have you seen those videos?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, sorry. Yeah. Also, he's I mean, he's spoken at the Fabian Society. He is a bona fide member. I'm surprised he hasn't been the head of the Fabian Society. But I think that would be a little bit too on the nose, you know. But
Right.
yeah, he's a big Fabian Society member. He wrote a pamphlet for them and everything. Um, so I think it was like the long road ahead or something like that. It sounded like a Orson Welles. Sounded like an Orson Welles title, you know. Another Fabian or another writer connected to Fabians. So go on, sorry, I interrupted you there.
Yeah. That it's the every nation has symbolism and heritage that's really deep and everything. I mean, the United States is a much younger country, but there's a lot of symbolism that goes into the fabric of the nationhood of the United States. Uh, from all the way from the American Revolution days. But Britain just has so much more, because it's an older country, and the stories and the symbols associated go back so much further and everything. Um, but this stuff that they're trying to replace it with, and erase the national, symbolism of England with, seems on the surface to be this like ultra um, modern, postmodern kind of deal with the pride flags and all this kind of stuff. But we've shown that it's pretty ancient. Especially you guys go back and watch the presentation we did, tracking the Grail with Ralph Ellis. You know, there's a there is some history to the symbolism. Even Sean Hross has a idea of where the pride flag really comes from. You know, I
Yes,
believe,
no, I was about to say, I was about to talk about that. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
they've added a new thing, right? They've added a sun disk now to the Pride flag, right? You know,
I didn't know that, but yeah, that makes sense. Sean says that the pride flag, the concept of the rainbow, comes from the Old Testament story of the flood. The flood, the rainbow was the promise that humanity would never be punished again.
right?
Uh, because the story goes that humanity was pretty much wiped out because they were, um, how would you say, sinning too hard or whatever. Um, uh, but so when they're waving the rainbow around now, it's a way of saying like we can get away with it now because this is the rainbows symbolizes the promise that we'll never get punished again. Yeah.
Yeah,
So the
right.
attitude comes with it. Yeah.
And there's a cult mockery in that, right? Um, I mean, I'm not a Christian, but if I was, I'd be offended that they're using the covenant as a excuse to go, what you look, you can't punish us no matter how much degeneracy we do. Look, yeah, it's all good with us and God because you're not going to punish us again. Pride flag.
That's exactly what it is. You know, that's exactly what it is. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, on one road during Pride Month, it's the University Road. Of course it is, right? I mean, that that's where the Fabians work best. Is within education and the education institutions in and around those areas. One one road leading all the way down is not doesn't have cars going up and down it. It's been turned into a purely pedestrian road. So you go down this road, you have to go down it slowly. Um, It's just pride flag after pride flag after pride flag after pride flag, and I find it incredible. You know, people really. There's a lot of people who've lost their mind in this country. They think, oh, they think it's pathetic and stupid that people are putting flags. They're putting the national flags up, the Union Jack and the England flags up. But then I say to them, but the pride flag's cool, right? You can put that up everywhere, and you can have that up for an entire month, and then sometimes you just leave it there throughout the year. But that's okay, right? Whereas people putting up their own flag reclaim some of their identity that you've stolen off them, or that you could arguably say that we've let them steal from us. Um, that's okay, right? Well, that isn't okay, sure thing. But yes, now what? But yeah, getting back to it, uh, I find this idea interesting that Nazism, especially the way Sean tells it, is great. I love coming back to it because it's something we really have to hammer away. I think Nazism, it's taken on a different face. It's it's a different beast these days. It has the same spirit, but it has a different form. Um, back, back with the Nazis, they in Germany, they put they it had a patriotic nationalist base, even though they were making inroads with uh, Arab dignitaries, and they even had legions with Muslims in their military. And Sean compares Starmer and the way that he gives privileges to people, Islamic people in this country, and he gives them privileges, and he treats them better than he treats the indigenous people of this country. And he says that's on purpose. Sean Hross says that this is not because he's a true believer or anything. He may be, but it's part of what he is doing to create a caliphate in this country, which apparently, news to me until recently as well, King Charles won as well. I've only really started taking seriously the idea that Prince Charles is already a Muslim convert. But I got to say, when I saw this guy's video, the land deer, when it first came out, it came up on my feed. Actually, I was really surprised, and this is why it sort of made me suspect about it at the time. I was like, this is in my recommended videos. What are the chances that this is like super legit? And then you do a little bit more research, and you hear someone as eminent as Michael Cesarian talking about it, and you're like, oh shit, I should be taking it seriously and doing my own research on it. I mean, yeah, what was it? Iftar. King Charles celebrated Iftar, the breaking of the fast at the end of Ramadan, at Windsor Castle. Do you need any more indications than that? Advice from the multiple conferences he's spoken at, the things he's talked about, Islam, even what is it? The Grand Mufti of was it the Grand? Is it the Grand Mufti or just the Mufti? Anyway, the Mufti of Cyprus. He talks. He talks about it way back in the day. I can't remember when it was. I think it was 1993, and he said, "Yeah, as far back as then, he was talking about Prince Charles, as he was known then, being a convert to Islam." I mean, these things were astonishing. I was trying to sort this out in my head. I thought, even when I was doing my research, I was like, "It's Dharma again, King Charles." He really advocated for the abolishment of monarchy when he was starting out in politics. What's the deal here? But then, Sean Hross sees it as, no, they want the same thing. With Starmer, he might just be using it as a tool to satisfy his true master, which he says is the Swiss, and says his lineage is Swiss.
Starmers.
Yeah, yeah. He says Dharma's lineage is Swiss.
Trump is Swiss descent.
Yeah,
Elon Musk, Swiss descent. Um, Putin is Swiss descent. Kim Jong Un is Swiss descent. Um, probably Xi Jinping is probably Swiss descent. I'm not exact. I'm not sure about him, but Netanyahu is Swiss descent. You know, you can see it in the skull forms, like Sean has said. You know, um, they have a flat back of their head. It just goes straight down the neck. It's no fucking joke. Uh, you look at Emperor Hirohito from Japan from World War II.
yeah.
Same thing, Swiss descent. Uh, something a little concerning there. Yeah, a little bit concerning. Yeah,
I mean, look. I thought Sean Ross was dead. You talk about Jim Cairns being dead or thinking he was dead. That's kind of the way I don't know what was happening with Sean Ross. So the last video we had from him was that he was being forced to stay in a French toilet to survive because he's still homeless. And I thought I preserve his work and get it out there, you know.
yeah.
Uh, and not only that, elaborate on it and see what I could find myself. And what did I find? Well, I found an obsession with hunting in Switzerland. And in Starmer's lineage, in his ancestors, they come from a long line of gamekeepers for lords and their castle. His family lived in a castle for a long time, like succession of ancestors. They lived on people who've owned castles in the landed gentry. Now, what I also found out was that that Switzerland, for a while, for about 400 years or so, sorry, even before then, but we're looking in the time frame of Starmer's lineage. Um, he, the Swiss have implanted their seed through mercenaries, through selling their military to other countries, renting them out, get and obviously the Swiss mercenaries had special privileges, and they were also offered amazing rewards at the end. I mean, they were allowed to, I think, officially loot. I could be wrong on that. I haven't really checked this point out yet, completely. But from what I found, what I gathered, it was near enough officially accepted that the Swiss mercenaries could loot. They could loot when they wanted. So you were talking the East India Trading Company, the other one, the West. I can't remember the other one, but they were involved in the other one, particularly the other famous trading company that doesn't get as much press as the other one, because the Swiss actually were involved with the other one, and were involved with the other East India Trading Company that people don't know very much about. They were involved with that one through and then they send their mercenaries over and hire them out to these corporations. So the Swiss mercenaries were allowed to either gain land like they were in Canada. Frederick Bouquet, another one called Haldemand. Interestingly enough, Elon Musk's grandfather has got this Haldeman, former the former Bank of England managing director in the 19th century, called William Haldeman. He made it so that the UK had the gold standard again, so that gold could be easily transferred out internationally to places like Switzerland. He even built a round tower folly in Switzerland, and he died in Switzerland. So we always tell that Switzerland was pretty near and dear to his heart, even though he's a Swiss English national. And but anyway, getting back to these Swiss mercenaries, a lot of them were undocumented, and Sean finds a connection between names that are like Striker or Stormer, and he says Dharma comes exactly from the Swiss German word meaning Stormer, stormtrooper. I mean that would directly relate to Swiss mercenaries. It would relate to Nazi soldiers as well, Nazi military, where they did things. Oh dear. But do you want to go from there and make a comment on that while I have a drink and wet my whistle and get my breath back?
Yeah, yeah. So the Swiss made up a lot of the brass and the Nazi regime. So uh, don't think of the Nazis so much as German, you know,
Yeah,
because the ones that helped Hitler originally were betrayed, and what you end up with is more of a Swiss controlled government than a German one. Uh, when a American or a British pilot would get captured, if their plane went down, they had to parachute down. They get captured, they end up in a POW camp. If that POW camp was run by the Germans, then they were going to be okay because the Germans were uh, pretty hospitable. You'd get fed well, you'd get treated well, you get medical attention, you get they let you smoke some cigarettes, whatever.
mm,
If that American or British pilot got captured and ended up in a POW camp with run by a Swiss officer, they were fucked. Wasn't so nice. And the concentration camps, those were run by Swiss, not Germans. So let that sink in. And the deniers, one of the things that the deniers point out is that the Germans had no reason to be that sadistic. That's actually true, but they weren't Germans the ones doing it. Okay, it was the Swiss. Yeah,
yeah. I was going to say,
but I gotta say as well, um, my phone's about to die. So
oh,
yeah, we might want to make some concluding remarks and let people know where we're going from here. And uh,
okay, yeah, no problem. Hopefully we can continue this conversation next time.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, yes. So from here, I'll be releasing an essay, which is sort of like a transcription of some of Sean Ross's most latest work. I'd say it's not his most recent, but it's within the same year. He's just released it, and uh, uh, it actually started off something with me, which took me down path of research. And I'm going to release it as a longer form essay as well after I release the transcription and excerpt of Sean Foster's work on Dharma. I'm going to release a longer form one of other findings that go deeper into it and make other connections with Fabian Society, Tavistock, the Swiss, looking at his whole family background, the psychology of Starma and his upbringing, filling in the gaps where I can using my imagination. And so keep an eye on the Substack. People who are watching on YouTube, where I'm posting my work from now on. We're not sure whether we're going to be posting up everything or not, whether we're going to take the conversation and post up clips on YouTube to entice people over to over here. Right now, seems to be the most free place. We don't have to worry about what we're saying so much or certain things happening with the connection and things like that. So yeah, we're staying here for now. We're going to try and bring as many people over as possible. And yes, Caleb, where can we find your work? What are your plans for the near future? And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of encourage people to look on YouTube on the Novocastrian channel, check out his early work, and then you can also check out the stuff that me and him have done over the past several years. Everything there, all of the everything there, his early work and the stuff we've done together are not things that just come out the next day. We don't record and release. This will be the first time we do that, this recording
Yeah.
year. Everything else we've done has been polished and worked and artistically crafted into a final product with visuals, animations, video, things that are woven together in a seamless format. And the person who's done that is Nate. Okay. He we do a project and then he gets to work on it and he puts in hours of toil and labor and craftsmanship. So
It's all love.
goes for free for the audience to go check out and enjoy, throw it on a rainy day, let it play on the big screen TV and just behold the artistic and informational content that it is. However, for the future, for projects like that, I told Nate that he deserves to get paid for his work. And I told him that I think that um, if we do a project like that in the future, then there should be a certain percent that's only for paying customers. So that's why I I told him that, Substack, because Substack is a really good alternative to Patreon. It's more freedom of speech oriented. It's actually got a lot of better features. It actually is giving Facebook a run for its money. It's giving uh, Patreon a run for its money because of the features. I think it's better than X. It's better than Facebook. It's better than Patreon. It's better than Twitter. It's just very well built platform, and it's even going to rival YouTube. So come over to Substack, everybody, and consider supporting Nate with the work he does and the projects that we do in the future that he's going to pour so much effort into. Uh, he deserves to, get a little bit of compensation for that. Now, if anybody wants to get a hold of me, go to vanhelsinglibrary.com and go to the contact page. I'm not just throwing my email address out here on the internet. There's a contact form on the website. Use it and send the message to me, and we can get in touch with each other.
Well, what about paying you, bro? I mean, all the work that you do, you know.
Say again now.
What about the work that you do though? What about paying you? You should get paid
Uh,
as well. You
I
help
mean,
you do a
all the
lot of
work,
work on slaves and you know
all the work, all the
you're
work.
here with me as well.
Sorry.
So you're here with me as well, and you've done all this work with me as well. You deserve to get something as well. Right?
It's true, but all the work I do happens before you and me get together, and then from that point, it's all you until the day that it gets published. So, um, I feel like my work is preparation, and your work is finalization.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but no, dude, you're in terms of the projects, you're the one crafting this product, this finished product. Um, I just have to show up prepared. That's kind of all I have to do. You're the one crafting the finished product. So it should be all you. Yeah.
Well, we hope to be doing a podcast every week, right?
Yeah.
From here on in. Yeah. Okay. So people who are watching now and afterwards, after this is goes after it goes out when we're not live, yeah, make sure to check back and see, and we'll try and let people know a day in advance or something like that when we're going to do it. Caleb, it's been amazing. Um, I'm so glad to be talking to you again, and I had a great catch up today. And there's for our first proper live stream, I don't think it went too badly. So we not really that structured, but still a lot of energy here. I like it.
Yeah.
We'll try and hone it in next time a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for me, from my perspective, I mean, from where I'm sitting, I could have been a little bit more. I didn't think I did too badly either, if I do say so. You have a great day, and
You too,
everyone
man.
who's watching as well.
Yeah,
Until the
everybody.
next time.
Till next time.
See you later.
Later.